You are watching Cybersec Global 2020 Studio. My name is Magda Petryniak. I'm the Communication Director at the Kosciuszko Institute. And together with me today is Ulf Pehrsson, Vice President, Government and Industry Relations, Ericsson. Welcome, Mr. Pehrsson.
Thank you, Magdalena.
You have been a speaker at one of the most interesting panels of day one of Cybersec, which discussion about decoupling. So my first question is the decoupling of digital supply chain affect the deployment and rollout of 5G network in Europe?
Yeah, well, I think we need to start by defining what you mean by decoupling. There could be, of course, issues around restrictions due to national security rules in Europe, for example, or other markets that are impacting the possibility of companies to deliver. But I would say, to start off from the Ericsson position, we already have very much a regionalized supply chain. That means that we are able to deliver products, in our case 5G products, for the European market from our European manufacturing facilities. One is actually in Poland, in Trzew, and one is in Tallinn, in Estonia. So we have no issue with supplying our customers in Europe. And then you can say, if some of our competitors are restricted from delivering to Europe, will that disrupt or delay the rollout of 5G in Europe? And we don't see that. We can see that we and some other competitors of ours that are still able to continue to do business in Europe have the possibility, in that case, to replace those vendors that, for national security reasons, would be not be able to continue.
I hear you. So as you're saying this, the production deployment is safe. And from a global perspective, when we take into consideration the ongoing pandemic, will that affect the deployment globally?
I think what we have seen since the start of the pandemic earlier this year, that there has been a fantastic resilience, both in our ability as a vendor to deliver the equipment globally in spite of the pandemic, but also we see, of course, our customers, the operators, have been able to really secure high availability of connectivity around the world. So I think the system has proven itself, and of course now connectivity has been more important than ever during these challenging times. So I think it's a good sign of the preparedness of the operators, of the vendors, but also, of course, of governments that have allowed the necessary maintenance of networks, etc., during these challenging times. So it's been really a true partnership between all the different players here.
Yes, you are saying a lot about collaboration and partnership. So my next question will be about, from your perspective, what actions the governments and then the private industry should take to keep to secure the supply chain safe?
I think, as you say, we need, it's not only about the supply chain, I should say, because I mean, what we care about as Ericsson is to make sure that the 5G networks are safe for the end users, be they consumers or enterprises or governments. And here we need to work together. I mean, the operators that are responsible for the operation and the build out of networks, but also us as a vendor that are building the products. So that needs to be a partnership. But then, of course, there is a responsibility to have a secure supply chain as well, and ensure the integrity of the systems, the software, etc. And of course, if you look at the European situation and looking at the national security issues around 5G security, I think the EU so-called toolbox for governments sets a really good example of how you can address this very complex issue, which is partly about technology, but also partly about trust.
Thank you so much for mentioning that. And my final question, well, we observe an immense technological progress, but on the other hand, we also experience an unprecedented climate crisis. So do you think the global technology providers and leaders should take a bigger responsibility for mitigating that risk?
I think our industry has a possibility to play a very constructive role here. At first, of course, we need to make sure that we work very hard to reduce our own carbon footprint. But actually, the whole information communication technology industry only represents 1.4% or so of global carbon footprint. So we are not the biggest culprit here, so to speak. But we see, and we need to take our responsibility as industry. When we now move into 5G, the 5th generation, we need to break the energy curve. We need to reduce actually the energy consumption of the networks. And we have identified in Ericsson the means how to do that. And we are happy to share that. But then, that's still, we only address 1.4% of global carbon footprint. We can also see that our industry can do a lot to help other sectors to reduce their carbon footprint. And studies show that by applying today's technology, it's not about some futuristic application of our technologies or new technologies. We can actually help other sectors reduce their carbon footprint by maybe up to 15% or so. So I think digital and green will actually work together here.
Thank you very much, and we do hope to learn more from Ericsson. It was a lovely conversation. Thank you for taking time to talk to our viewers, and hope to see you during the next Cybersec event.
Yeah, thanks for having me. Thank you, Magdalena.
Thank you. It was lovely.